Hi, welcome to the first box office addict from Columbus, Ohio, which is my new location, my new bat cave, my new fortress of solitude. I hope there isn't an echo. There might be one because I'm in a room that doesn't have any furniture in it pretty much because I just moved, so it's just a bunch of boxes in the living room and the bedroom and all that, so I apologize. There was some echo recently in my last video and I don't really know how to work around it. I don't really think there's anything I can do about it. So once again, I'm sorry if there's echo. Maybe we'll figure this out. Pat, did you get your stolen wallet issue fixed? No. No, I did not. Columbus welcomed me in the most wonderful way possible. Probably the most urban way possible. Perhaps the truest way possible by someone stealing my wallet the first week I was here. And everything was going so well, too. It was like a vacation. It was wonderful. I went to a midnight screening of Fright Night on the July of 4th. It was amazing. July of 4th. Young Pat, you will go see Fright Night. But July 4th, I saw Fright Night at this awesome art house indie retro theater. We were going out to bars and restaurants. We were going to the mall. Today I went to the zoo. I got to see the zebras and the giraffes. I really wanted to see a polar bear, but damn it, all the polar bears were put away, probably because of this awful heat. I thought the worst part about moving here was going to be that the air conditioning and went out in the car, because why not? F it. It's not like it's 100 degrees outside or anything like that. At least it feels that way. But I thought, okay, cool. Whatever, my, Columbus is Somaliland. I got some nice pictures at the zoo. Everything had been great. I mean, I'm not kidding. Everyone I talked to this week on social media through texting, I said, man, the happiness is just coming through on this text message or this video. You can just tell that you're really positive and happy about living in a new place. I like the apartment. I liked everything in the area. I mean, I found this awesome, like, indie theater that's amazing. They're showing Stanley Kubrick films in 35mm. They have a 70mm projector there. They show 2001. They're going to show Clockwork Orange later this month, The Nightmare on Elm Street. They're showing Doctor Strangelove right now. They were showing Paper House the other night by Bernard Rose. That's a film I don't think ever got a DVD or Blu-ray release. I love Paper House. It's kind of like a Heavenly Creatures, Pan's Labyrinth-esque movie made in the 80s by the same guy who directed Candyman. If you haven't heard of it, he used to work with Clive Barker. And, yeah, everything had been going really great. Seeing Fright Night was awesome. And, getting moved in and, I had some extra cash, so it was fun. You ever listen to the podcast? Yeah, It's That Bad. It was great, but sadly they quit. No, I did not. So here's what happened, basically, to give you guys, because I had to file a police report, so I'll try not to give too many details. Our gas wasn't working. So I called the gas company. Yo, get my gas fixed. And I'm singing my song, Gas Man, won't you please give gas to me? Oh, gas man. So I get a knock at my door about a half hour later, and it's the gas man. And I thought, hell yes. But he brought another guy with him. And I'm like, okay. And he says, this guy's here to watch me, to make sure I'm doing everything legally or whatnot. And I'm like, okay. So they both come in. They look all official. He checks my oven. He checks my heating. We go down to the basement. The other guy's here. So then the other guy steps outside. So they both leave after about 20 minutes. And then I start looking around the apartment. I realize my wallet's missing. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what happened here? So I'm trying to put two and two together because I knew where my wallet was. I knew it was laying on the top of this box here. I knew that's where it was. So then it hit me really hard. It was like Chaz Palminteri dropping the coffee mug and The Usual Suspects and realizing Kaiser Sose was Kevin Spacey. It all started to come together like, oh, it was the gas man. No, not the gas man from Twin Peaks Season 3. But, yeah, so I was like, oh, crap, one of those gas guys took my wallet. Here was in the wallet. The contents of it, I suppose. My social security card, my driver's license ID, which you need to do anything, $50 in cash, and 2 of my cards. So, I had to cancel the cards. I had to lose $50. And now I'm having to drive back 4 hours, mind you. I moved 4 hours away. I'm having to drive back 4 hours to get a new ID and to get my social security card replaced. Now, I would just go get my social security card replaced, but guess what you need to do that? An ID. So until I get my new ID, there's nothing I can do. I can't even get a mailbox key. To get a mailbox key to my apartment, I have to go take my ID for them to know that it's me who leased the apartment. So pretty much this guy got $50 in cash to buy his crack or what have you, and he fucked me over. Now I have to spend 4 hours driving back and forth, so that's 8 hours in gas. The $50 doesn't matter, Noel. It really doesn't. That's irrelevant. I could give a damn about that. Somebody took $50, whatever. It's the fact that I have to drive back and here, because I have a bed coming on Monday, and I'll be happy to give you... just where I decided to move, Bathory. I decided to move to Columbus. It was 4 hours from where I lived in Pennsylvania. There wasn't much I could do about it. I have to go back to where I got my... I have to go get my birth certificate from my parents, who live 4 hours away. They live in that area. The problem is they can't mail it to me because I don't have a mailbox key. So I can't do dick right now. Basically losing... Because I just moved. I didn't have enough time to get my ID changed to Ohio. So that sucks. The drive's awful. And I have a car where the air conditioning doesn't work. So this kind of ruined my good mood that I was very much in. I was in a great mood this week. I really was. I was just positive spirits. I was just bouncy and joyful. Now I'm a bit cynical. Now I'm a bit down. Now I'm a little bit upset. I mean, you know, I get it, man. Whatever. I leave some money laying out. You want to take it. But you just take the whole wallet. You take my Pokemon wallet from me, like you catched a Pokemon yourself. You just saw the Pokeballs and you couldn't help yourself. You're like the little golem that was so excited. So I know who stole it, so I filed a police report. Now I have to call the gas company on Monday and tell them that whoever they sent out here the other day stole my wallet, or the guy he brought with him stole the wallet, most likely, because the guy after about like 10 minutes was like, hey, I'm gonna go outside, and I had to replay it in my mind. So yeah, wallet got stolen, and I'm going to call the gas company to complain about this, that they sent a guy out here who robbed me, and I have to do that drive, which sucks. It's, you know, of all things, you know, like, once again, getting money stolen, it sucks, right? But I can deal with that. I really can. It's just the inconvenience of it. I have so much stuff I have to do. I still have to unpack a lot of stuff. I still have furniture coming. I just bought a bed this week. An amazing, soft, wonderful, beautiful, majestic bed. And I have a couch coming. I have a chairs coming. I have a table coming. And I have to go back for 2 days so I can get this goddamn birth certificate and get a social security card and an ID again so I can come back here. So it just holds up my whole week. That's the main thing about it. It's just so inconvenient. He could have at least taken the money out and just left the wallet. He probably threw it in a dumpster, for Christ's sakes. And that's the worst part, is that he probably just took the money out and threw it in the dumpster. He's not going to be able to use the cards. I canceled them. So he got $50. And in that $50, he inconvenienced me like nobody could possibly imagine. It sucks. I'm just letting you guys know. Makes me upset. I don't know if I saw your comment on top. I'm sorry. If you could do it, I'll do it again. Or leave a comment again. I'm also tired. I was at the zoo a long time today. I was at the zoo for 3.5 hours in the very, very hot sun. Turns out the Columbus Zoo is a very big zoo. Jack Hanna's famous from there, you know, the guy that used to be on David Letterman with the animals. So, I've been selling my body for years, Craig. I mean, I'm basically a whore on this microphone in a sense. I've been selling my voice to you guys, but soon I'll be selling my body on a regular basis. How else is a guy supposed to get work in this economy? So I had a fun time at the zoo. I couldn't enjoy it as much as I would have liked to because they had beer there, draft beer, and I thought, man, I want to get a beer. Oh, wait, I can't. I don't have my wallet. Oh, boy. Oh, well, hey, cool. I want to go get a soft pretzel just as a snack. I don't care if it's $4. Oh, wait, I can't. I don't have my wallet. Well, that's fine. At least I went to a Kroger today, and there was a Starbucks in it. I've never seen a Starbucks and a Kroger, but you're goddamn right I got a Frappuccino before I went grocery shopping. And I'll do it again, damn it. The zoo is so exciting except for the polar bears not being out. I'm all about the polar bears, the zebras, and the kangaroos. Those damn kangaroos. They're wonderful. So, you know, that was all fun. There was one part that was really funny. There was a group of young black gentlemen who were looking at the map part, you know, you are here. And they were trying to find out where they were at because they spent a lot of time in an aquarium and stuff. And they were trying to get to the Asian, Africa section. And one guy was like, man, Africa, I gotta go. I gotta go. He's looking at his 4 friends like, I gotta go. And I'm like, what, motherfucker? Why do you gotta go to Africa to see the animals? Why? And one guy says to him, man, you want to go to Wakanda. You want to go to Wakanda, motherfucker. So I guess he wanted to go see the rare Black Panther exhibit of Wakanda at the Columbus Zoo. And the guy says, no, man, that pisses me off, actually, how people think that's a real place. So I was just laughing, enjoying myself at this conversation, because I knew Wakanda was going to come up about these young black guys talking about Africa. But then when he said that he hated that people thought it was a real place, I was like, my man. All right, we're in this together now. Funny shit right there, okay, and it was very amusing. I felt like Sam Jackson on the phone with Marcellus Wallace. Well, shit, Negro, that's all you had to say. You know, it made me very... Soon I was hoping he was going to talk shit about the bad CGI, and then I'd be like, hey, we're friends now, man. We're doing this. Zoo will never be the same for me ever since Snowflake died. A very famous albino gorilla. Good. Good for you, Bathory. I was thinking about you at the zoo, Bathory. I actually said to my girlfriend, I said, you know, Bathory, I bet she likes zoos. I bet she likes animals and all that shit because she seems to be obsessed with things like this because she's like a crazy cat lady for the world. A Spanish one. But, yeah, it was awesome. It was a good time. It was hot, like I said, but we had a fun time. It was right by a water park. I'd recommend the Columbus Zoo. I hope they make some money from this channel so you guys can go there. But the walletless Pat is here, and I did miss Box Office Addict 51. I'm very tired. I've had a rough week. I'm in some room with a bunch of boxes and a television on a floor. I've been sleeping on an air mattress. My ass is grinding up against the carpet at night when I'm trying to rest. Life isn't that easy, people. But I do this. I do this for you, like Janet Jackson. It's all for you. So, welcome to Box Office Addict 51. We've made it past episode 50. We've kicked down the doors. We've shoved our dildos up each other's asses. It's time for the big show. My Tumblr is 50% animal pics, so yes, I figured Bathory. It made sense. Just following how you've talked. I mean, I guess you're a geneticist, so it makes sense, but there's no doubt you just love animals. Did you visit the ant and wasp sections at the zoo? You know, I wish I would have set that joke up. Stolen Wallet Addict 51, Ant-Man and the Zoo. This has turned into a really, really mediocre David Letterman monologue. I am aware of this. Okay, so let's get to the box office. This isn't going to be a long show, and I know usually when I say that, that means the show's going to be 3 hours, but legitimately this isn't going to be a long show because, like I said, I'm tired, and I just, yeah, it's not going to be your typical Box Office Addict. I gave you guys, you know, I've given you some long ones, whatever. We're here. Dildos and asses, shit just got real. We've done what now to each other? Not enough, Michael. Not enough. Even though FLCL Progressive disappointed, is there any hope for FLCL Alternative? Well, it is an alternative, so maybe. I'll make a movie based on your experience. The Zoo sounds more entertaining than Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'll leave them to you, Beth. Are all of Alfred Hitchcock's movies good? Yeah, for the most part. He has a few movies I don't like as much. Oh, I did have another good thing. I went to Barnes & Noble this week to look at the Criterion's collection. 50% off deal. There's few things that make my mouth water as much. That was my church. I was going to get Brian De Palma's Dressed to Kill, which I think is one of his 5 best movies. It was in my hands. It was on the tip of my fingers. I also wanted to get Election, but I already own that movie, and I was like, do I want to double dip? And of course I do. But I decided to land on Robert Altman's The Player Criterion release, and I was like, I'm gonna get this. I did want Dress to Kill from De Palma, don't get me wrong. You know, of course there's always stuff I want, like the Apu trilogy and whatnot, but I decided to go with The Player, and I actually was debating this. For some reason, I had my dick stuck on Dress to Kill. I was like, why do I want to see John Lithgow in drag killing people? Then I thought, why wouldn't I want to see that, quite frankly? It's like he's playing his character from The World According to Garp in a horror movie. But then it kind of occurred to me, I was like, wait, am I seriously debating this? Like, Brian De Palma's Dress to Kill, which is a great film, it's really underrated, nice cult film, one of his better movies, compared to The fucking Player, one of the best movies about Hollywood, if not the best film about Hollywood at the very top, one of the best scripts ever written, one of the best adaptations ever, arguably Robert Altman's greatest later career work, and I'm like, what the hell? Well, why the hell am I even debating this? I seriously debated this. I was sitting there looking at Dress to Kill and looking at The Player like, I'm gonna get Dress to Kill. And then I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get The Player on the Criterion Collection. That's amazing that it even got released on Criterion. That's a brilliant movie. So I went with The Player. So I can't wait to pop that in sometime coming up here soon. Also, the Fright Night midnight screening was awesome. It was only $5. You could get beer there, and there's a cool thing about this theater is that they have an option where you can just order a beer, like a movie. And they're doing it in that specific way. They have an ad for it on YouTube. You know, because you see in movies, people say, hey, can I have a beer? They don't say the brand. So if you go to this theater and say, I just want a beer, they'll hand you the beer option, which is awesome. I liked it quite a bit. Fright Night it felt like it was a theater from 1985. They had posters up for movies from the 80s and 70s. They were also showing Jaws and a few other films, but I'm really excited about these film prints they're going to be showing of Kubrick films and of Hitchcock films and stuff like that. I'm most likely going to see A Clockwork Orange next week. I'm probably going to go see The Shining 35mm screening. They're showing The Iron Giant at some point. I kind of hate I missed Paper House, but it was after midnight, so I didn't really have a chance to go see it. And it depends on what kind you're buying, Terrible Lizard. If you're just buying random Blu-rays, probably, but if you're buying collectible ones, it's not totally a waste of time. Especially rare movies, it's hard to find necessarily online in great quality. So, yeah, I saw Fright Night. It was awesome. One of my favorite movies from the 80s, one of my favorite vampire flicks. Tom Holland's best film, as far as I'm concerned. Starring the great Chris Sarandon and Roddy McDowall. Fright Night really holds up too. I've seen it like 20 times. It's a movie I love. But seeing it in the theater, you know, it's kind of like seeing a movie again for the first time. I certainly felt that way in the past, seeing stuff like Back to the Future and all that. But it was a great time. I'm really excited though. The Shining in the theater. They showed the trailer to The Shining before Fright Night, and it was the original. It was that elevator scene trailer from the 80s. So that was really exciting. It was like watching old movie trailers, and they're also getting a bunch of indie documentaries and stuff like that there. So I'm very excited about going to that theater. It seems amazing. They also show a lot of local films. They have the local film festival there. Got to get to know the people there. There's a bar there. There's food. They got like 8 screens. It's not a huge theater, but it's a pretty nice theater. I can't get into Fright Night. Well, that's unfortunate. I really like Fright Night. Pat, I'm also taking advantage of this deal. I got Solaris, Watership Down, Lady Vanishes. Ooh, that's really nice. Lady Vanishes is great, actually. Jaquise Demi box set. I think, but yeah, that's I don't have that box set. I want that box set, actually. I want that box set, and I want the 3 Colors trilogy box set. Kieslowski, I believe is how you say his name. If they're inside, they get squashed. You guys keep talking about the Wasps. But yeah, that's an awesome. I've often want the box sets because they cost more. If I ever went to the Criterion Closet, I would get more of that. Yeah, I love Roddy McDowall. I think. Wait, let me look at your list again. Which book should I read if I want to appreciate filmmaking symbolism and subtleties in film? I mean, there's so many of them. To be honest with you, In the Blink of an Eye, great film editing book. Sidney Lumet's Making Movies. Truffaut, Hitchcock. I mean, there's so many great films. I mean, I'm not kidding either. There's like dozens of great film books. You can read reviews that are by great film critics, essays. So that's I'd say just Google it and go down the list and read one by one as you're going through, because honestly, I mean, I own a lot of those books, but there's so many to read. I mean, a lot of filmmakers have written books, a lot of film critics have written very good books, a lot of scholars and whatnot. So yeah, I would say just start there. I really want to get the Apu trilogy though, but it's like $100, which I guess it'd be $50 right now on the Criterion sale. But because my wallet got taken, I didn't have the extra cash right now. But I did get the player. I do want to go back and get Dressed to Kill, and I want to probably grab Election. And I don't know what else I'd grab. I'm probably not going to get the Before trilogy, even though I'm a fan. I'd like to get some Fassbender films. I think I own a couple of his movies, but I'd like to get some more. And I know Bull Durham's coming out soon, and I hope they have Bull Durham at the store. But Barnes & Noble is awesome. Once again, you can get Starbucks everywhere here. At the zoo, at Kroger. Just Starbucks. I thought Seattle was the home of Starbucks, but it turns out it's Columbus, Ohio. Who knew? Yes, I have seen the trailer for the Nick Cage film Mandy. I wasn't a big fan of Beyond the Black Rainbow, besides it being a very cool-looking movie. I thought it was very boring. But who knows? Maybe this one will be good. God, yeah. I'll send you, you know, Casper, I'll get back to you on the film books. You know, put a comment up or get a hold of me on Twitter. You know, follow me on Twitter and you can DM me and I'll follow you back so we can DM each other, and I'll send you some links to some stuff because I'm just kind of burnt out. I'm not really on my A game today. So I just kind of want to get through the box office, do the show for you guys, and then we can move on. I'm sorry if this isn't like an exciting normal box office Addict. I wish it was, but I am low energy right now. Kinski is my favorite crazy fucker, though. Yeah, for sure. I agree. Hold him in very high regard. Okay. Sorry to Bother You, which is a film I think looks really good visually. I think it's a very interesting film. The trailer, I've seen that trailer a lot. I saw it before Fright Night. It looks awesome. I want to see the movie. In 16 theaters, it had 717,000 opening weekend. That's really good. 44,000 theater average. I think that's terrific. Let's see. This is from director Boots Riley. Sorry to Bother You. Very acclaimed film. I think got a lot of love at Sundance or some film festivals. Has the guy from Get Out in the lead. So yeah, that's a really strong opening weekend. We'll have to see how word of mouth deals with this film, how it holds up. Three Identical Strangers, which is another film I've seen the trailer for. This film's apparently amazing. Where these three guys were separated at birth and they're twins. And there's some reason why they got separated that's a crazy conspiracy or something. I've heard this movie's amazing, like an incredible documentary. I really want to see it. I will see it. It is coming to my... Now that I live in the city, I can actually go see films like this and review them, which makes me very happy. I just don't have to review A Quiet Place 3 months after it comes out. I will be doing a review of Three Identical Strangers at some point. I'm going to try to review Sorry to Bother You. I'm going to go try to see films like that more often. One of the big reasons I wanted to move to a city and kind of move out of the area I was in was that I wanted to go see more independent films, more just art films, because that's kind of what I'm into, and I'd rather talk about that stuff. Maybe I'll get Chris Stuckman out here and we can go see something together. You know, he's just in Cleveland. I'm sure he'll come out and do a collab. Why wouldn't he? Okay. Avengers Infinity War, 865,000, 43% drop, 674 million domestic, 2 billion, 38 million worldwide. It's right under 675 million. Should be able to make, let's see, what did it make this weekend? Should be able to make 677 so far, or 678 it should wrap up. So, huge success. Not quite Black Panther domestically, but worldwide, it's one of the most successful films ever. Solo, A Star Wars Story, 982,000, 63% drop, still drops at the box office. $210 million domestic, $379 million worldwide. This has a $250 million production budget. This has marketing and promotion of over $100 million. Big failure. And, you know, I thought it was an alright movie. It's sad that this one had to take the hit for the failures of Disney. Or Lucasfilm in particular. 1 million this weekend for Hereditary, 56% drop. I'll try to get a review out for this movie at some point. $41 million domestic, $62 million worldwide. The budget's relatively low. They did spend a lot on marketing, but for A24, this is another success with Lady Bird and Moonlight. A24 is having... they're kind of becoming Blumhouse, where they're producing these films. They get great reviews. Although Blumhouse films don't always get great reviews, they get out. But the profits, they're their own studio, and almost every A24 film does really well. Or if it doesn't do well, it does okay and gets a lot of attention. Like Good Time was great, but it kind of didn't do that well at the box office. But their last few films, The Disaster Artist did okay. So they're having modest success, and I see them getting, and they've been getting a lot of love at the Oscars, so good for them. Sanja, 1.2 million, 5.9 million, 57 million worldwide. I'd say that's predominantly going to be successful at the international box office. Whitney, $1.2 million this weekend. Is this a documentary? Yes, in 452 theaters. That gives it a screen average of 2,000. It's actually not a great opening weekend, but it's not bad. You would have figured it'd be a little better. Oh, Kevin McDonald. Isn't he the guy that made Last King of Scotland? Yeah, Last King of Scotland. He started in documentaries, actually. This guy's a really good director. Last King of Scotland, State of Play, The Eagle, Marley. I like some of this guy's movies. But yeah, I guess he made a new documentary about Whitney Houston. Deadpool 2, $1.6 million, $314 million domestically, $727 million worldwide on a $110 million budget. That film did very well, even if it made a little bit less than the original Deadpool. Hereditary offended my senses. It was awful. Huh. I gotcha. Go on Sardanacast. You'll be a nuke bomb. I don't think those guys will have me on there. I love that Stuckman with the blandness immediately. That's the thing. I think his blandness with all of my personality will be a great mix. My head is too big. Let me see here. Alright, hold on. Let me move it over a little bit. It's hard for me to gauge these things. Okay. Maybe this will help. Anyway, won't you be my neighbor? $2.5 million. This documentary is doing phenomenal, quite frankly. In 893 theaters. This is also playing around here, but I don't know if I'll go see it. $12.3 million. Probably has a lot to do with rave reviews and being about Mr. Rogers. This is great numbers for a documentary from Focus Features. That's just terrific numbers, really. I mean, documentaries normally never make more than 10 million. This film could actually make 15 to 20. Tag, $3.1 million this weekend, $48 million domestic, $60 million worldwide. If this film could make $100 million, it'll be a success. It seems to be pacing to do about the same as Game Night. Probably not domestically. It seems to be wrapping up a little bit quicker than Game Night. Ocean's 8, the sequel to the Ocean's 11 franchise, now with The Woman. $5.2 million, 36% drop, $126 million domestic. I said on its opening weekend, I think this could make $130 million or more. It's on pace to definitely do that, possibly $135 million or so. So $70 million budget. I said I think it needs to be made about $250 million to be a hit. It looks like it's going to be able to pass that. It's at $236 million right now. So next weekend, it should pass that $130 million mark, if not by the end of this week, like Friday, and be at $250 plus million over the weekend. We'll have to see if it can make $300 million by next weekend. But this is the Gary Ross film. Very mixed reviews, but doing very modest box office, very decent box office. It's a busy summer. Uncle Drew had a big drop this weekend, 56%. It's at 29 million, 0.9. Right under 30. Should probably make somewhere, could make 40 million, starring Shaquille O'Neal from Charles Stone III, who directed Drumline and Mr. 3000, amongst other classics. Alright, let's see now. Sicario. Sicario 2 here is at 7.3 million. Had a 61% drop. So this film, that's a pretty bad second weekend. After the surprisingly good opening weekend of 19 million, which surprised me because that was actually better than the original Sicario's opening weekend. But Sicario, I don't think held very well either, to be honest. Yeah, Sicario had... This was limited, a 37%. Oh, I guess Sicario did have good holds. Just didn't have a great opening weekend. So Sicario 1 made 46 million domestic and 84 million worldwide. This film It's at 35 million in its second weekend. It should be able to make over 40 million. I thought it might do a little better, like 50 million, but I don't see that happening with the 61% drop. The international box office isn't done yet, so perhaps this film could still be a success and maybe make like 70, 80 million, but yeah, audiences are not responding to it. The first Purge, the fourth film in the Purge series, I think this is the fourth. $17.1 million opening weekend. I guess never mind. It should have had a better opening weekend. I didn't know this opened in the midweek. This opened on July 4th and all that. So I take that back. $17 million opening weekend, but it did make 31. Because I would say that seems like a low opening weekend for the Purge franchise. But if it's made 31 million on the first few days, it actually did do rather well. Let's go back and look at the other Purge films. Which is a franchise I don't really like, even though I kind of like the second film where the guy has to protect the girl. The first Purge was a surprisingly big hit, starring the great Ethan Hawke and Lita Headey. It's a terrible movie. It had a $3 million budget. It opened to a great $34 million, which was way above what anyone thought. It made $89 million worldwide. It's kind of like the new Saw franchise. Love it or hate it. Then we had the Purge Anarchy, which is loading, which had an opening weekend of 29 million, which was lower than the first film, but it ended up doing better domestically, making $71 million domestic and $111 million worldwide. This starred Frank Grillo, a guy I like a lot. I actually thought this film was fun. A big, fun, stupid movie with a $9 million budget. I had fun with it. What am I going to say? It's not a great movie, but I thought it was fun. Then we had the Purge election year, which did have a $31 million opening weekend, which was a really good opening weekend. Just like the Saw franchise, you know, it doesn't lose momentum. It made $79 million domestically and $118 million worldwide. God, this really is the new Saw franchise, the more I'm thinking about it. It's like dead-on comparison. So this film, which I thought was performing worse, now that I'm really thinking about it, it actually, because it opened a little early, that opening weekend of 17 million is pretty good. So it probably would have opened around 28 to 30 million if they had released it just this weekend. Get some water here, sorry. So with a $13 million budget, this has already made 41 million domestic. I could definitely see this making 100 million worldwide. So once again, Michael Bay and Jason Blum are having success here with the Purge franchise. Michael Bay's had a good year as a producer. He produced A Quiet Place, John Krasinski's film. He produced Ouija, Origin of Evil, and this Purge film. Well, the Ouija came out a couple years ago, what am I saying? But still, two successful films he's producing. So Michael Bay continues to make a crap load of money. Really good opening weekend. This franchise is something I'm not a huge fan of, once again, but Jason Blum, who produced the Insidious films and Get Out and Split last year, which was huge for him. He's producing the sequel to Split Glass and the sequel to Unbreakable at the same time. Blumhouse is really turning into a major studio. He received an Oscar nomination for producing Whiplash and for producing Get Out. So yeah, it's kind of weird to think Blumhouse is Whiplash, but whatever. So yeah, and they also have Jen and the Holograms, but you know, not every film does great, like The Darkness or Upgrade. But you know, now they got the Purge franchise. Truth or Dare did. Let's see what Truth or Dare made worldwide. 92 million on a $3.5 million budget. So they continue to be a very successful studio, and this is a very successful fourth film. So Saw 4, people, it did all right. I love your videos. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. That makes me feel very good. Watched at least one John's video. That's one too many. What would you think of PTA and Tarantino doing film essays or starting their own film review YouTube channels? I would love it. I would much prefer if the two of them did film essays or reviewed and stopped making movies. I think that's where Tarantino and PTA belong, actually. I would love if they both just retired in the next couple of years or so and spent all of their time doing that. I'm not kidding either. I would love that. That would be way more. That would bring way more to my life than any movie either one of them have made in the last several years. I would get way more out of that. Yeah, it's unfortunate Upgrade bomb. So the first Purge, great opening weekend. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom continues to be a major success, despite getting terrible reviews and being a sequel to a film that I didn't think it would keep as much hype as Jurassic World. Don't get me wrong, it's not making as much money, but this is still Jurassic Park franchise is crazy. 28.5 million this weekend, 53% drop, $333 million domestically, and it's past $1 billion through the week. That's with a $170 million budget. Opening weekend was 148 million. Second weekend was 60 million. Now with 1 billion, 58 million. This will definitely make 1.1 billion, and I think it can make 1.2. $725 million at the international box office. Absolutely bonkers. The first film made 652 million domestic, 1.6 billion worldwide, but still, this is huge for Chris Pratt, who's now at 7.7 billion. He's now got Infinity War, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and Guardians of the Galaxy and the Lego Movie under his belt. And Passengers did okay, but all of these are huge blockbusters, so yeah. And even though this film isn't doing as well as the first one, doesn't need to. I mean, who thought that Jurassic World 2 was going to be making $1 billion as quickly? Jurassic Park, I mean, I know that was a huge movie and the sequel did well, but the third one only made like 370 million. It didn't do nearly as well as the first two Spielberg directed. So it's just crazy that these last two films both broke $1 billion. I guess that's the new thing with these franchises, just like Star Wars. You know, Force Awakens, 2 billion, Last Jedi, 1.3. Honestly, this is honestly doing better than Last Jedi. I mean, not domestically, it's not making that 600 million, but altogether with the international box office and all that, as a comparison as a sequel, because the first film made 1.6, this one's probably going to make 1.2. That's only about 400 million difference altogether. It's not going to have that beast domestic total of 652 million, but the international box office for this film isn't disappointing at all. Those are great numbers. And a $170 million budget, this should be a profit film. They did spend a lot on advertising, 170 million. Let's see what the international box office for the last one was 1 billion. So yeah, this isn't doing that bad. It is a sequel to one of the most successful films of all time that was a reboot / sequel of one of the most successful films of all time, but still, Jurassic Park isn't going anywhere. Get ready for Jurassic World 3. Those are great numbers. I thought at best this film would, kind of cross 300 million. And I thought it would make $1 billion probably, but I didn't expect it to do it this quickly. I'm surprised by this, honestly. This is doing really well. The Incredibles 2 had a 37% drop this weekend. $504 million domestically. It is the third film this year to make $500 million after Black Panther and Infinity War, all three from the same studio. $29 million this weekend. $504 million domestically after $182 million opening weekend. $772 million worldwide. God damn. So, still a lot of international box office to go. This hasn't made the money of Finding Dory yet. It's now past Monsters University, which made $743 million. Domestically, this is Pixar's highest grossing film and has passed Finding Dory, which was the previous record holder at $486 million. It's also passed Toy Story 3. Adjusted for ticket price inflation, I still think Finding Nemo probably has that record from what I remember correctly, but this is now officially Brad Bird's most successful film. If you go look at the worldwide box office, it has now passed Mission Impossible 4, the original Incredibles, Ratatouille, and even adjusted for ticket price inflation, where these other films have all done really good. 243 million, 274 for Ratatouille, 384 million for The Incredibles. It is still his highest grossing film domestically worldwide with adjusted ticket prices. So, huge hit for Brad Bird, right back at the top after the bomb that was Tomorrowland. I didn't love this movie. I thought at best it was okay. I was very disappointed by it, but can't deny that there was a lot of hype and people wanted a sequel to The Incredibles, and the results are in, quite frankly. This should be able to pass 800 million next week, and it should be on its way to $1 billion. I'd be shocked if it doesn't make it. I still think it's got $150-200 million to make it the international box office, so that should put it right there to reach the $1 billion mark. It should be able to make another, $40-60 million domestic, even though it had some pretty steep drops there. The holds weren't great for an animated film. A lot of people thought it would make 600 million domestic. You can't knock a $550 million domestic total. What a beast of an opening weekend this had. So, The Incredibles 2 continues to have an amazing performance. We'll see some of the drops here real quick just to make sure. I had that 56% drop, then 42%, but it's balancing out now. So I'd say 550 million is a lock, and at least 950 million worldwide. I'm assuming this has a $200 million budget. Not only has this film broke even, it's made a profit at this point without question, and Disney is having a great year. Even with Solo's bad performance and Wrinkle in Time, all these other movies did so well that they made up for it. And talking about Disney and films doing well, let's get to the number one film of the week. What are your thoughts on Toy Story 4? I wish it wasn't happening, actually. The new Jurassic Park trilogy seems content to just be glorified dumb fun popcorn flicks. RJ at least directed a good oh, well, I'm not scrolling back up. You probably talk about Rian Johnson with Brick. I'm telling you, Paul, it's a great fucking movie, man. Lays back in chair with samurai sword in the background and Marcellus Wallace gun on the table. The Pop-Tarts, man. Fucking ready, man. I cast Samuel fucking Jackson, man. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great, man. Okay, so Ant-Man and the Wasp. Well, it's lower in tracking with 75 million, and going into the weekend, it looked like it was going to do better than that. If you went to Deadline on Thursday, they were saying Ant-Man was looking like it was going to open to 88 million to 92 million, 85 to 95 million. It's like, wow, Ant-Man and the Wasp is way overperforming, which wasn't shocking because it's Marvel and Disney, and it got pretty decent reviews. It got better reviews than the first film. Then it was coming in like, okay, it's going to do 85 million. Okay, still better than tracking. Then they said, okay, it's going to do 82 million. And I'm like, all right, still better than tracking. $82 million good opening weekend. Now that we have the weekend actuals, the film did open at the lower end of tracking, 76 million. So all of that, all the weekend, all the reporting of 95 million for Ant-Man and the Wasp, 85 million. It still came in at the 75 target, even though it had a $33 million Friday, but that's not bad. I think that's about probably what like J.J. Abrams' Star Trek and some other films done. With the $33 million Friday, it does argue that this film should have opened over 80 million, at least like 83 million, especially when you think about something like Logan that did $88 million on its opening weekend. Now, I think $76 million is a good opening weekend for this sequel to Ant-Man, but it did look like it was going to open better, so maybe that says something about the word of mouth. Maybe it was front-loaded. There's a lot of factors to consider. Maybe it's splitting the box office with Incredibles 2 and Jurassic World. I mean, they both brought in over 20 million this week, and so it's tough to say with Ant-Man and the Wasp exactly. So anyway, this film has made $161 million worldwide. I'm assuming the budget's somewhere around $170 million, considering the first film's budget was $130 million. Directed by Peyton Reed, who made the great Bring It On, which is a film I do like. I'm not joking. The Breakup sucks. Yes Man was okay. He did the original Ant-Man, which opened to 57 million, which was a decent opening weekend, but then it went on to be a pretty successful movie at $180 million domestic and $519 million worldwide. Originally was supposed to be directed by Edgar Wright. They pretty much kept his screenplay. They tried to rewrite it with Adam McKay and a few other people. Didn't really work out. Oh, actually, Edgar Wright and Joe Cornish wrote that original script for the most part. Still wish Edgar Wright would have directed this and would be working on the sequel right now, but we didn't get that movie. We got Peyton Reed, who's a fine director, but he's not Edgar Wright. He's not the visualist. But this is my favorite special effects out of any of the Marvel films. I don't think anything works as well as the Ant-Man shrinking, making things big special effect. That's my favorite effect any of the heroes have. It's maybe my favorite superpower any of them have. I really like the cinematography to the first film. It looks like a film. It didn't just look like digital blandness somewhat. Like it actually has pretty good cinematography. Go watch that first Ant-Man movie. I like the scene with him and Falcon at the Avengers headquarters. I like the third act. It's got a rough start, but I think it all comes together pretty well overall, and it's a decent movie. It's entertaining. But yeah, it ended up doing really well. It wasn't a bomb, so we knew we were going to get a sequel. I'd say after Civil War, Ant-Man became a more popular character because he gets the big giant man sequence, which, really put him up there. He was not in Infinity War. So now he's in this film following up in Infinity War and Black Panther, which both had opening weekends that were way above expectations. $202 million for Black Panther,
$257 million for Infinity War. So here we are with the $76 million opening weekend. It's about $20 million more than the first film. You know, when you look at Thor 1, I think Thor 1 opened to $49 million and then did 85. Captain America went from a... God, what the first Captain America opened? Oh, no, Thor 1 did 65 to 85, so 20 million. Captain America 1 opened to 68 million. No, 65 again. They both did 65. And then second one, 95. So that one had a big jump, 95. Iron Man 1, 98 million. Iron Man 2, 128, even though it made less domestically than the first. Then the third Iron Man, 174 million. Trying to think of some Guardians of the Galaxy 2, 146 million to the 94 million dollars opening weekend, but that didn't do as great, you know, as the first. I mean, it did better than the first one overall, but it wasn't as great as a box office success surprise as the first one was. So overall, this seems to be on par with something like Thor: The Dark World, about 20 million higher. It's a little bit less than the second Captain America movie. But overall, you know, $76 million opening weekend isn't bad. You would think it would have opened a little better considering Doctor Strange opened to 85 million on its own, but I think that had a lot to do with that the special effects in that movie look so epic in the trailer, and you had Benedict Cumberbatch, who's a big star on his own. I really like Paul Rudd. I think Paul Rudd's terrific. I've liked him going back to the 90s. I think he's a very likable lead. Evangeline Lilly has a bigger role here. Of course, the great Michael Douglas. So, you know, this film got very good reviews. I was expecting an opening weekend probably around 85 million. I think the $86 million opening weekend would have been better, would have been a greater thing to have on your headlines. Like, Ant-Man overperforms to almost $90 million opening weekend. But, you know, this is what they thought it would do. This was on the lower end of the tracking. This isn't a bomb. It should be able to make 200 mil domestically. With these current numbers, if it doesn't have big drops. So overall, you know, it's another Marvel success. What's really going to matter here is the international box office. It had an $85 million opening in China. The first Ant-Man was huge in China and did very well at the international box office. So if this film can make, you know, $400 million at the international box office, this will be a film that makes $600 million worldwide. I don't know about what the whereabouts of Ant-Man 3, how that's going to happen. They'll probably make Ant-Man 3, though, just to see that franchise. I'm sure he'll be in Infinity War Part 2, because they don't want to waste the character of Ant-Man in another Avengers movie. So this is decent. This was never the biggest Marvel franchise. I'd say it's kind of like the baby of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. This isn't Guardians of the Galaxy successful. This isn't even the Thor franchise now after Ragnarok, and this isn't Captain America's popularity. You know, Ant-Man is the lesser popular hero out of all of the main characters. I mean, unfortunately, because I actually think Ant-Man's one of the better heroes. But maybe it's just because his movies are more straightforward comedies. They don't have some of the conflict. They don't tie into the main storyline as much. They're sort of standalone films. I love the title to this movie. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp is a great title. I think that's a really great sequel title instead of just calling it Ant-Man 2. And I love that poster. I think that's a really good poster. I do want to go see this movie just to review it for you guys. I'd probably watch it at home normally. It doesn't look great, but I'm sure it's okay. So yeah, for Paul Rudd, this is good though. You know, he was always on the cusp of being a big movie star. People always loved him. Women loved him. Guys liked him. He was always in a lot of successful comedies like Anchorman. And, you know, he'd show up on Parks and Recreation as Bobby Newport. And he's in the Judd Apatow movies. And, you know, he shows up in indie films like Perks of Being a Wallflower or Prince Avalanche by David Gordon Green. And, you know, there was a period he was getting really big with Role Models and I Love You, Man. And I really like I Love You, Man a lot. I think that film's awesome. And that film did pretty well, 91 million. And Role Models by David Wayne made 92 million. So he had a bit of success there a few years ago. And then his career didn't really pick up. But then Edgar Wright had the great idea of casting him as Scott Lang. And then he got Ant-Man. So right here at this point, you know, he had Anchorman 2, Ant-Man, Captain America, who's in Sausage Party. And now he's in he's in the Marvel Universe. So good for Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd's just a likable guy. You just want movies with Paul Rudd in them to be better because Paul Rudd's so likable. He almost has a Cusack-like elements to him in a way. He really got big, I think, again with 40-Year-Old Virgin. I think that really helped his career. But going back, he was kind of popular back when Cider House Rules came out. Romeo plus Juliet, which was a surprisingly big hit, made $147 million, Baz Luhrmann's film. Clueless, which is terrific, the big hit from Amy Heckerling. So let's look adjusted for ticket price inflation that are just Paul Rudd films. Knocked Up now would be about 200 million, 40-Year-Old Virgin around 160. Anchorman 1 and 2 both over 100 million. Clueless today would have made 120 million. Sausage Party, Cider House Rules. So, he's been I Love You Man, 87 million. Dinner for Schmucks, which is a horrible, horrible, horrible movie. I saw that in the theater and it was just absolutely awful. It was legitimately like one of the worst films I saw in the theater around that time, and I was going to the theater all the time then. He has a minor role in Forgetting Sarah Marshall. So, he got hooked up with the Judd Apatow gang, and so I'm really happy for Paul Rudd. I'm happy that he has a franchise. For some reason, he just can't seem to hit the mainstream like some other people do. I mean, he's got the things going for him. He's a good-looking guy. He's very likable. There's kind of this weightlessness to him. He's kind of light on his feet as an actor and a performer. He can be goofy, but he can still do some of the serious stuff well enough. He's not a great dramatic actor, but he's a very good leading man. Charismatic, just good. You see why he's a star. I always thought he'd be a bigger star. So yeah, this is at the lower end of the Marvel films, but it's still decent. And I was expecting this when I clicked on this today. I thought this was going to be much higher. I thought this was going to be like 85 million or something like that. So I don't know what happened here. It should have done better. Let's look at the daily box office to break this down. I mean, this isn't a bad opening. I'm not trying to like undersell it. Oh, I guess it had a pretty big drop on Saturday. It had $33 million Friday and then 23 million Saturday. See, the Saturday should have been like 26 million or 28 or something like that, and that would have put it over 80 something million. And the Sunday they had to estimate that's a big Saturday drop. In fact, you could argue Saturday could have even been 30 million if the word of mouth had been better, and we could have been looking at a film that would have had an opening weekend of like 90 million with a really strong weekend. So it did have a pretty big 30% drop on Saturday. Is pretty steep. Perhaps the word of mouth isn't great for this movie. It has 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 70 on Metacritic. Some people are saying they like it better than the first one. Other people are saying they don't like it as much as the first one. So I don't know. It's weird with the Ant-Man franchise. I don't know what to think about this. I guess you can't complain though. Marvel made so much money off Black Panther and Infinity War, and they were such serious films for the most part. Were trying to be, had a little bit of levity, that making a goofy comedy sequel to Ant-Man could have been a disaster from a different studio. So, even though it's not going to be one of Marvel's biggest hits, a $600 million worldwide gross for a film like this isn't bad. So, and like I said, they made so much money off the other two. Ant-Man and the Wasp really didn't need to be a big hit anyway. I like the trailer for that movie, though. Superfly continues to do poorly at the box office, 19.8 million. Book Club continues to do well at the box office with 67 million. And then, of course, we have Adrift, which was a bomb. And A Quiet Place was a major hit. Got a review for that out finally. $331 million worldwide. Major hit. Even seeing that number, I thought A Quiet Place at best could maybe make 200 million. It's pretty, 187 million worldwide just for this film. If it had made that worldwide, would have been amazing numbers. But the fact that it made 187 million domestic, it's really a blockbuster. It's not like a horror film that broke out and did well. It's really a blockbuster when you consider it. And I think it plays like a crowd pleaser in a mainstream film. I think a lot of the Michael Bay influence might have been in there, some a little bit of Krasinski trying to tap into some Spielbergian things. But and I like this movie. I thought it was good, but even Get Out, which did really well, it didn't do like this. And Get Out was kind of that artsy film, and it still broke out. So it's crazy how this film really became like a major hit. Because, yeah, those are great. 331 million. That's better than the Cloverfield films and a lot of other films that try to do things like this with these gimmicky premises or conceit, I guess. So this is very successful to be making that. Honestly, like 180 million worldwide would have been great. So the fact worldwide it did 330 million is absolutely insane. Let's see if I'm missing anything here. Oh, excuse me. I don't really think so. So the story of the weekend, Ant-Man and the Wasp did good. not great. Incredibles 2 has crossed $500 million. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom has crossed $1 billion. The first Purge keeps that franchise consistently strong at the box office and the same fan base showing up. Sicario 2 has a major drop, as well as Uncle Drew, and everything else is staying pretty much the same. And Deadpool 2 is starting to wrap up pretty good box office overall. Thank you, Craig. I like the tinfoil level theory that Kathleen Kennedy created the whole fans are toxic narrative so that nobody else would want to direct Star Wars movies except she and her cronies, so she can't be fired. What are your thoughts on the Mass Effect Andromeda producer blaming Zelda for MEA flopping and not giving a fair chance? Well, that makes no sense. That's ridiculous. Today I saw Pacific Rim 2, and it was hilarious. A true action comedy, so cheesy it's funny. I thought that film was cheesy, good fun. I had a fun time with Pacific Rim 2. Everyone just said it was terrible and bad, and it is bad. But I got it fun. You saw Dinner for Schmucks in the theater. I'm so sorry you put yourself through that. Yeah, it was rough. Yeah, Parks and Rec, I was just watching that today, and the Bobby Newport stuff was on, which is funny. No, he's in 40-Year-Old Virgin. That's what kind of made him big, was that he played the friend of Steve Carell in that at the video store. It's kind of what brought Paul Rudd back, because he worked on the Daily Show. He was on the Daily Show with Steve Carell, and it was kind of Daily Show guys getting work now. It wasn't just the Adam Sandler crew, because I remember he's upset that Mindy Kaling broke up with him, and he wants to get her back. He has a really big role in the 40-Year-Old. I mean, This Is 40 did well. It did well enough, but 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up, I think, really kind of, and him joining the Apatow crew kind of brought him back in the 2000s. Because Paul Rudd's career wasn't doing that great after Clueless. He did not have a great run in the late 90s, early 2000s. Very early 2000s. Not saying like 2000. You could bring up Anchorman, but... which I guess also had Steve Carell in that. My expectations for the first movie are pretty low, and I ended up loving it. I hope the sequel is about as good. Screen Junkies absolute damage control after Andy Signor. Oh, you mean Andy Pighor? Or Pigsore? Guess Ant-Man's box office shrunk. That's amazing. Can't do that tonight, Craig. Gotta wake up early tomorrow. Oh, she's a sexy scientist. Yeah, I guess we'll continue to have the theory that Bathory is just actually super, super hot, and she's lying to all of us. Because why would of course, she might be just a guy, too. I've been waiting for that plot twist, that Bathory's a man. Finkel Einhorn. Einhorn is a man! After Infinity War, Ant-Man was going to have a hard time. I don't think the word of mouth is going to be as good as either. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. And his porn he did, This Is 40 Inches. I remember when I was younger, girls all loved Paul Rudd. Although girls used to also like Shia LaBeouf and Michael Cera when I was a teenager, and they all wanted to bang him. I remember like every teenage girl I knew liked Michael Cera around the time of Juno. And then they all liked Shia LaBeouf around Transformers. But I remember when I was younger, chicks always talked about Paul Rudd. Like, yeah, Paul Rudd, he's so handsome. He's so handsome. I used to even tell my friends there's the Paul Rudd meter. Because it's that right balance between guys liking you and chicks loving you. And you would get ranked on the Paul Rudd meter. But yeah, I remember that was a thing. Let's see. You want to keep your job, Signor? Yep. Somebody should have... Thanos, instead of wearing the Infinity Gauntlet, he should have come up with a different glove, the condoms for the universe. Could you re-upload the Screen Junkies? It's still up, I just made it private. I still have the video. Does Miles Teller look like a beta male? Yes and no? Pretty sure no women will admit to liking Michael Cera now. I completely agree. That was even a joke in This Is the End, where she's like, I just want to fuck him. She's so hot and all that. He's so hot. And then Seth Rogen's like, what? They're all like, what are you talking about? But that's how it used to be. Man, all those channels like Nerd Writer, Just Right, all those like second tier every frame of painting essay channels that think they're amazing. They get like a bunch of subs. They drive me crazy. Oh, we actually went longer than I thought we would. I was expecting this to be like 45 minutes. Not bad. Hugh Jackson meter is instead, in my opinion. That's funny. Hi, I am unknown. Who are you? I didn't like his friend's character. I didn't really like his friend's character either. I really like Paul Rudd, and the cast liked him, but I don't know. That whole thing with Phoebe getting the guy at the end, I don't know if that was the best stuff. I think that's... He didn't really add anything to it for me. I should be on World Class Bullshitter sometime in the next week or so. I don't know, next week or two. I mean, he said he wanted to have me on like the 17th on a high council, so I guess I'll have to email Jeff about that. But you guys got to remember to keep asking him in the chat. When are you gonna have Pat on? When are you gonna have Pat on? Because, you know, we were emailing. I don't know what's going on with that. Any thoughts on the first three Silent Hill games? They're great. Silent Hill 2 and 3 are amazing. Awesome. Abstract, artful, haunting, beautiful. The sound design is absolutely terrific. Letting moments linger and not consistent jump scares or action moments. You know, engaging, weird stories. Really like the amazing soundtracks. I meant, could you make the Screen Junkies video unprivate? Yeah, maybe. I'll think about it. I go back and forth with that video. That's a tough one for me. I think it's got a lot of really funny stuff in it, but there's some other stuff that makes me a little uncomfortable. I love all of the stuff you do. I love all of the stuff you do. That voodoo that you do so well. I'm going to try to go back to just kind of being a movie review channel and cut down a little bit doing some of my commentary videos on certain things and that. I think I got to just stick to reviews. I kind of lost my reviews. I was looking on my channel. I was like, man, I really only reviewed like Ready Player One, Wrinkle in Time, and then a long time in between. Then I reviewed Isle of Dogs and now A Quiet Place. I'm going to try to do a review of Rampage with The Rock, Ant-Man and the Wasp. You know, this is a movie review channel. Although it's about a lot of things. It's me about talking about movies from the past, news stories, Star Wars, commentary, doing live streams on Kanye West and all that. But I think I'm going to try to get this channel, because I think I've streamlined the reviews with the scripts and the opening and the music and the cutting and all that. And I just think I need to just do weekly, or, you know, every you know, week 1 or 2 movie reviews and try to get the channel back to that. I think that's the direction of the channel. Is the right way to go, is to go back to just being a movie review channel and review more. Even if I got to review some older stuff, you know, like I was late with A Quiet Place. Just Right and Mahler had a stream together? I didn't know that. You also have your film coming out, right, Pat? Yes. I mean, it's not coming out in theaters. It's not coming to a local theater near you, but I'm going to try to get it played. I'll try to get it played in that film festival. I just saw Cure for Wellness a few days ago. It was a beautiful film. It had nice-looking cinematography. What about your channel awesome stuff? I will definitely follow up on that. It's just because I haven't been able to set it up. I have a lot of stuff written out and saved for those videos, the Channel Awful series. The biggest problem with that is that Mr. Medicare basically did what I wanted to do. I kind of want to do a version of that for the Spill crew, and where Double Toasted went and Chris went with one of us. But I am going to do my video on Spoonie and Doug Walker, and do my video on, you know, everyone. I'm going to cover Todd in the Shadows, Lindsay Ellis, music reviews, all those guys, and cover that guy with the glasses channel awesome thing. So Channel Awful, I know I did the one video. It did very well. I got 40,000 hits. I will do Channel Awful 2. It'll probably start with Doug Walker. And then I will do, you know, I'll go one by one. It'll take a little while, but I'll get around to it. Yeah, Dishonored Wolf and Mahler did a video with Just Right. Was this recently? Or did I miss it? Would you go on Ralph Retort? He seems to love class. Yes, I would go on Ralph Retort. Fraser Danger goes on there, and I know him. And I was on a live stream one time with Naked Ape, but we didn't get to talk. But I would go on Ralph Retort, yeah. I'd go on anyone's live stream podcast, really. I'm not very douchey about that stuff. I'd go talk to people I don't like. So what, was Just Right making excuses with Mahler? And did I good shouting you out on Twitter, Daddy Pat? You did great, my friend. Can't wait for Channel Awful. I think that was, yeah, I've definitely got to do the Channel Awful. Will probably be like 7 videos or something like that, because I know Just Right did that Last Jedi video, like why we can't agree on the movie or whatnot. But I have I don't know how many videos we'll end up doing on the channel awful thing. It'll at least be 5. I gotta do Doug, and I gotta do Lindsay, and I gotta do one on Todd in the Shadows, and I gotta do one on Spoonie. Maybe I'll talk about TJ Kirk's The Amazing Atheist involvement. Well, just to talk about Spoonie, because he was part of and I'm a big fan of. I mean, everyone's made that video talking about how they were a big Spoonie fan. I have a channel. I have issues with a lot of analysis YouTube channels. All of us were Spoonie fans because he did epic, amazing review. I mean, even Razorfist said like a few weeks ago, somebody asked him about Spoonie. He goes, "I'm a big fan. I miss his videos." Spoonie is one of the best reviewers guys we ever had out there. His movie reviews were terrific. But I just want to bring up Spoonie. It doesn't mean I'll like cover like a whole video with him bringing up his rise and fall. I might just talk about how I felt about Spoonie, but I mainly just want to talk about the history of Channel Awesome and that guy with the glasses, even though once again Mr. Medicare did it. But Mr. Medicare kind of did it in this analytical reporting way and talked about things. Yeah, every YouTube channel has done the Spoonie video. I think Just Right has better editing. I don't know if I necessarily always like his commentary better than Mahler. Brad Jones Spoonie, but I kind of just want to, even his counter monkey vids were good fun. I miss Spoonie too. Spoonie made amazing videos. He was angry and funny, and his editing and the way he put things together, and he was smart. I mean, I really was. I was a big Spoonie fan. I really wish Spoonie still reviewed video games like that. I think he'd have 500,000 subs now, if not more. If he'd kept it up where he was going, because he had 114,000 subs and he was getting so huge, I think that guy would have 500,000 subs right now, if not more. I think he'd be one of the biggest people to come out of that guy with the glasses thing, but it didn't work out. Because like you see how big Angry Joe is, and Angry Joe's okay, but Spoonie was amazing. Just Right's Last Jedi video was pathetic. I agree, that video was really bad. Do you watch Mumkey's videos? Yes, I do, on Rich Alvarez. He was his Spoonie. Yeah, I really like Mumkey's. I wasn't aware of Mumkey's stuff, but I'm watching it now. Yeah, I've seen Hereditary. Has anyone seen the new Film Riot film? I think it's super overrated. I will definitely follow. I got to do the Channel Awful videos. Then I have a series I have to do in Kanye West. I'm gonna review some movies. I need to bring back underrated classics of my favorite films. It's just they never got a lot of hits, but I'll bring some of those back, and I'll do some more essay videos like the Lost in Translation one, because that's really where I want to go, is essay movie reviews and break down stuff editing. But I got to get a new computer, and I got to get a better setup, and just have... Really, it's just my editor and my computer that's held me back on doing a lot of those videos. It's very difficult for me to edit. It takes me a lot more time to edit and put a video together than your average YouTuber that has better equipment. My stuff really, it takes me hours sometimes to do some of those videos, and I really wish it didn't. It's not my abilities as an editor. I really can put stuff together. It's just the difficulty. Like the Lost in Translation video, I could do more stuff like that. It's just very tough to me. Tough for me, and I get copyright claimed a lot, and it's tough to work around that. Ever so often, Spoonie does a live stream. Yeah, he does, but they really suck. He doesn't say anything, and he yells at people. Luckily, I only saw the ending for Dinner for Schmucks. I was actually a bit delighted by just how stupid it was. I can't get Premiere Pro right now, no, but I have used Premiere Pro very frequently, and I've also used Final Cut, and I've used everything. I've used every editor that's out there. Your Lost in Translation video essays, amazing. Yeah, I think I want to do more videos like that and actually do good video essays, as opposed to a lot of people who I think don't really get at anything. I think they explain obvious things about character development. And I'm not knocking these people. I like Film Riot. I'm not going to knock Nerd Writer. Those guys can make those videos, but I don't think it's hard to do necessarily what they do, where I'm trying to come from an angle of emotional substance, and emotional depth. Ant-Man and the Wasp, thanks for feminist representation, but you misrepresented people of color and are ableist. Never negotiate with these people. Never give up. Never surrender. Thank you for the super chat, Larry Bernard. I appreciate it. Premiere Pro's fine. I think it's a little overrated, but I definitely would prefer to use it to what I'm using right now and all that. Spoony could have done Final Fantasy 13 tier review, and then Lightning Returns, a worst Spoony movie we were promised. Yeah, he never made that movie, did he? It sucks. I really do just miss Spoony making content. Even his Last Jedi review with that girl he was with, that was a great review. He's like, this movie does not hold up. You know, he's really funny. I used to love his movie reviews, like when he saw Transformers 2 and stuff. And he came out of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, he's eating Taco Bell and bitching about it. He just felt so real. You should watch Soul Brother, #3 video on video essays. It's hilarious but brutally honest. Okay. I will definitely... You've told me that before, I think. I have heard good things about North Carolina and all. I've heard that from many, many people. Going to Carolina in my mind. In my mind, I'm going to Carolina. Can you see the sunshine? Can you see the love in those eyes? FLCL as an anime feels kind of like Zack Shnita, only with actual subtext. I like how you think there, my friend. There is good subtext. Hey Noel, you live near Mumkey. The funky Mumkey. I live near Jeff from World Class Bullshitters now, Sinatra says, and Chris Stuckman. So I didn't win the lottery except probably for Jeff there. He's in Cincinnati. I think Spoony got burnt out while back and lost interest. I mean, we all lose interest in stuff. When I was younger, I used to be huge in Gundam model kits, no longer. Yeah, but not all of us are making thousands of dollars off Patreons in our interests. Spoony was making like $5,000 a month or something, if not more. So I think I could keep interest somewhat when it becomes a job. The Leftovers is really good. First season's first half's a little rough. Second season's terrific. Third season's a great piece of drama. It's not completely satisfying, but unlike Lost, Lindelof never promises things he's not going to answer. He kind of just lets you know that it is what it is, and you have to kind of come to your own conclusions. Where Lost, you know, kind of sets up like there's going to be answers, and the creator said that. But The Leftovers, I thought, was wonderfully acted. Carrie Coon, terrific. Justin Theroux, really, really good show. I thought it was one of HBO's better shows the last few years, actually, because it was so dramatic. The second season was really good. Florida ain't bad, except for the liberal hell zones and the gators and the hurricanes, but we have... That's funny. Pagan Cubans to deal with hurricanes. They're making a Hollywood Gundam movie with Legendary and Sunrise co-producing. I hope it's good. I think Gundam could make a good movie if you went straight up Mobile Suit Gundam with it. I could get into that shit. Amuro Ray. Why not? Why not have a little Amuro Ray? The Red Comet Char. All that shit. We used to always have leftovers on Monday. We always had leftovers on Monday. Actually, FLCL makes you think it's just random cool nonsense, but it's really about puberty. Yes, it is. It is about puberty and coming of age and sexuality in your teen years and all that, and dealing with it. Just saw The Graduate. What do you think of that film? It's one of my favorite films of all time. Visually stunning. Mike Nichols, The Graduate. He won Best Director. It's about untapped feelings, sexual repression. I do not like Siskel and Ebert's retrospective review in the 90s where they go from 4-star reviews to 3. They miss out on why it's so funny and so good. And then in the 90s they're all like, oh, this is an easy rider, this film doesn't tap in, it's not rebellious, and I get what they're saying, it's a little dated, but it's still great. How dare they like try to say The Graduate isn't as good as it used to be. But The Graduate, amazing visual presentation. Maybe overuses the music a little bit. There's kind of repeats of some of those Simon and Garfunkel songs, but one of the funniest movies. It's kind of a great movie. It's got romance, it's got drama, it's got comedy, it's got brilliant montages and cutting. It's a blockbuster in many ways. It's a crowd pleaser. It's an art film. It's pop art really in a high form, and great acting. Great sex scenes, great intimacy that people talk after sex and have conversations. I really can't fully explain why The Graduate's so great and why so many people love it. A lot of people really love The Graduate. It's a lot of people. It's like on IMDb's top 250. Most film buffs I know love it, but most films I can kind of crack and figure it out. I can't fully articulate why The Graduate's so good. I can get why it's good just as a movie. It's a good movie. It's a damn good film. But why is it so transcendent? Why do we all feel so connected to it? Why has it been so iconic? Yes, The Graduate is that film, Noel. It is definitely that film. It has plastics. Maybe that is. Maybe that's what it is. It might be because you really get in the character's head, or because it's a quiet film that still has a lot of energy to it. It's unique in that way. I don't know. It could just be Mike Nichols is such a great director. I'm not sure. Maybe it's because it's kind of a film that's passage of, it feels like an old Hollywood film. There's almost these 40s, 50s qualities about it, but it still has this 70s film thing about it, late 60s, 70s film about it. It's kind of like this transition film, and maybe it's because it's capturing that moment of transition in cinema that watching it is so impactful that it makes it hyper emotional, from the classic Hollywood crowd pleaser to the new Hollywood-esque crowd pleaser, and it trying to find that balance between those two things. And maybe it's because it's a little bit about ageism and generations and all that. I don't know. Maybe that's what makes it impactful. I don't know. Thank you for the $20 donation from Ginyu, the Ginyu Force, which I was a big fan of on Dragon Ball Z. I enjoy your channel, bro. I'm not the biggest movie fan, but I enjoy your take on stuff in general. You just enjoy what I say about anything. Well, that makes me very happy. It's relatable if you ever were directionless. Which is better, Caddyshack or Animal House? That's an extremely hard question. Animal House is better directed by John Landis, but Caddyshack, man, Caddyshack might even be funnier for me. I'm going to go with Animal House just because it's better directed, and I think kind of it predates Caddyshack so much that it kind of led to Caddyshack, but I love Caddyshack. Caddyshack is one of my favorite comedies, and I love that Caddyshack, if it had a serial killer in it, would totally fit perfectly in with slasher films of the 80s, because I talk about that there's a balance between slashers and comedies, and if you lean one way, a Friday 13th movie could be a good comedy with a good script, and something like Caddyshack could just turn into a horror movie. But Caddyshack feels like a slasher flick at points. I love Caddyshack. Caddyshack is closer to my heart, but if I'm being objective, Animal House is probably the better film. I think, but big fan of Caddyshack. National Lampoon's Vacation, is the best out of the three. Let's just say that, because that's a pure piece of Americana. One of John Hughes' best scripts. Chevy Chase at his absolute best. I've never been disappointed with Animal House. I've heard some people say that. I love Animal House. I've seen Animal House, like, countless times. I've been watching it ever since I was a teenager. I've seen it at least 30 times, but I love it. I think it's incredibly witty. Boone's amazing. The character, Animal House is a better looking movie. It just, John Landis is just a better. He's got these Spielberg qualities as a filmmaker. He does his compositions and puts in. He's really great. But Caddyshack, I do think, has something about it. There's like little bits in it that are really classic. But Vacation kind of finds a great balance between the two of them ever. That's true. And Caddyshack does have Bill Murray. It's funny because originally Animal House was going to have Chevy Chase and like Dan Aykroyd and those guys and Harold Ramis, and instead they although to be fair, those guys are better actors probably than Chevy Chase and Harold Ramis, but still it's Chevy fucking Chase, it's it's Dan Aykroyd, so I don't know, but Belushi stayed in. It was originally supposed to have a bunch of the SNL guys and some of the National Lampoon guys. But, they're all great. I mean, but there is something magical about Caddyshack. I can't quite... it's kind of a magical movie because it balances so many different iconic lines, and it jumps around. It's a messy film. You feel like you're following one story, and then another story pops up, and then... it's weird. Like, it really has no narrative focus or anything like that. It's kind of sporadic, but it still works brilliantly. I'll take them all over Airplane. Airplane's great, man. Yeah, Caddyshack. Caddyshack does have like too many great people in it. You have Dangerfield, you have Chevy, you have Bill. Like, Caddyshack does have that going for it that has so many people in it. I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you, but you were born to rub me first. Dun 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 dun. Hey Pat, besides Ghostbusters and Groundhog Day, otherwise, what is your favorite Bill Murray movie? Lost in Translation and Rushmore. Also, he's terrific in it. What's it called? The Farrelly Brothers film. Kingpin, the bowling movie. Amazing in that. All those are great, I would say. Yeah, I would probably go Groundhog Day, Ghostbusters, Lost in Translation, Rushmore, and Kingpin for Bill Murray. I really like Blues Brothers. Do you think Max Landis was a one-trick pony with Chronicle, or is he a good writer? He's a good writer in a sense, like he's good at writing YouTube videos, and the stuff he writes, like Wrestling Isn't Wrestling, and The Death of Superman. Those are good videos that he wrote. They really are. That's funny and good stuff. Some of the comic books he's worked on are okay. I wouldn't call him a one-trick pony necessarily in the sense of like his own career. I think he's just gimmicky, and he's not as good of a writer as he is like an idea guy, or that he understands stuff. I think he's a good critic. I think how he talked about stuff was interesting. But I think his actual ability to tell a story and put it together isn't that great, unfortunately. But I do think Max Landis has a lot of talent as a guy articulating how to talk about comic books and pitch things and break down the movie industry, and has opinions on movies. I liked him for that stuff. As an actual writer, is like his writing or his dialogue and all that stuff, not that great. No, Max was never that great of a writer, to be honest, and his stuff was so derivative of other things. But he's a great geek. He's kind of got some Kevin Smith qualities, how he talks on podcasts and shows. He's very entertaining. He was a very good talker. I would have liked to see him and Kevin Smith have a podcast together. I think that could have been fun. Kingpin is for winners. It is. It's amazing. He's not a one fondle pony. Oh boy. Yeah, every time he was on Screen Junkies, he was like amazing. You know, I want to hate on Max Landis because he was kind of like my supervillain for a while, but because his Twitter was so SJW. But he, you know, he was an entertaining guy. He'd be a little annoying and grating, but he was still fun. Speaking of Max Landis, can we get the Bright review, even though it would be months late? I did promise that Bright review where I was going to go into Max Landis's like whole history and stuff that I got sent to me from posting on Reddit and other stuff like that. And I was going to talk about it. One day I'll do that Bright review. You can do reviews late on YouTube. Nobody gives a shit. If Plinkett did a review of Bright right now, it would get 1 million hits. What's the most rewatchable MCU films counting Infinity War? Yeah, Iron Man's, Captain America, Winter Soldier, you know, that one, and I mean, honestly, I think Infinity War is going to be one of the most rewatchable ones in general. You know, seeing it's so entertaining. A lot of people say the first Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't rewatch a lot of Marvel. I mean, I have rewatched them, but it's not something I rewatch all the time. The first Ant-Man's actually a pretty watchable movie. Chronicle and the First Cloverfield is probably the best found footage movies ever. Oh, and the franchise about ghost hauntings. I'd have Wreck up there in found footage. But I do think Chronicle is one of the better found footage movies. I would agree. Very much so. Yeah, where is the Plinkett review of The Last Jedi? I don't know. I would love it. I would love a Plinkett review of Last Jedi. That's not how the Force works. Why is Yoda acting so stupid? That'd make me very happy. Oh yeah, the first Avengers is a pretty watchable movie. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah, that's a good pick. The first one, yeah. I think Mike is still in shock. Oh my god. Why are you so stupid? I like Cloverfield, man. I mean, it's cool if you don't like it. I've always liked Cloverfield. I liked it when it came out. I liked it in theater. I know it's one of those weird movies. Some people think Cloverfield's great. and one of the best genre films of the 2000s, and other people hate it and think it's horrible. I remember that happening when it came out, and I know today it's still that way. Some people think Cloverfield's amazing, and other people think it sucks. I think Cloverfield's great, but I know so many other people think it's terrible, so I don't know what that movie, it might be its aesthetics that divide people. Have you heard that the MCU might go SJW? I have heard that, but I have yet to see it. But a lot of people seem to think because of Captain Marvel, that's where they're going. Hey, when did you get a sense the like of Indiana Jones' life was in danger? Think real hard. A few times probably. I mean, in the first film, like Raiders, when he's fighting the big guy at by the airplane, when he's going under the car. I remember always feeling really scared for him when I was a kid when he was trapped with the snakes. When he got fucked over. I always thought that's the low moment for the character, you know, in the classic film structure. I think Joss Whedon hates it, and Justice League ripping it off has clouded people's thoughts on the first Avengers. I mean, I think, you know, it just kind of, part of the gimmick of it kind of wore off. That's what was kind of exciting about the first Avengers. But still on its own, the first Avengers is a really entertaining movie. Did Mike wait till October the following year to release the Force Awakens review? I think he's going to wait a while. On the Last Jedi review has to be coming. We've reached the point that anything starring a woman gets accused of being SJW. Yeah, Mike can't be playing a drunk guy when he's drunk 24/7. Yeah, it's getting to the point where Mike's going to die of alcohol poisoning, Rich is going to die of diabetes, and Jay's going to be 60 and look 28. And have all the bitches. Cloverfield is all right at best, but I definitely don't want to watch it again. I love Dane DeHaan in Valerian and Chronicle. I really like him in Chronicle. He's really good in that movie. He really is. His career's been disappointing. Isn't that the question of the day? I was blown away by Cloverfield too. I thought it was a great theater movie. He didn't like The Last Jedi though, so why would it be positive? He didn't like the movie. What's your thoughts on Peter Jackson's career? Do you think the man ever make like a good movie again? I don't know. The first Hobbit was okay. Not a big King Kong fan, even though it's got some of the best special effects ever. Love Peter Jackson. Love his movie Heavenly Creatures. Bad Taste. The Frighteners, which feels like a Robert Zemeckis film. Forgotten Silver. I mean, big fan. But then, you know, after Lord of the Rings, you know, I didn't think King Kong was great, and then Heavenly Creatures sucked, and then the Hobbit trilogy was super disappointing. The second and third film especially. The first film I thought was okay. I think that film gets a bad rap. But yeah, I would love to see another good Peter Jackson film. I don't know. I mean, it could happen. You know, but I'm a big fan of him. Great camera work, he's a tonal master. They didn't actually do a TFA review, it's a Star Wars Awakens review. Yeah, Meet the Feebles, yeah. No, I kind of just wish Peter Jackson would go back to his roots. He's a better Guillermo del Toro than Guillermo del Toro. I think he could make something like Pan's Labyrinth, although Heavenly Creatures is very similar. I think he could make something... You know, I think he could do a better type of Pacific Rim kind of movie, but I would love if Peter Jackson went back and made a horror movie. I don't really know why he doesn't. The dude's rich enough. I don't know why he doesn't go make like a $5 million horror film and release it through Blumhouse or something. Or go make a low budget art film or something. That's what I want from Peter Jackson. Isn't Peter making that? Yeah, he co-wrote that movie. No, I don't think he's directing it. I think he just co-wrote the screenplay and is producing it, but I don't think he actually made the movie. I'm kind of am sick of these like $200 million Peter Jackson projects. I really do. What used to make Peter Jackson so amazing is he could make a lower budget film really feel unique and beautiful and transcendent with that. Yeah, I saw the trailer for Mortal Engines. He didn't direct that movie though, by the way. A lot of people seem to think he did. But, he really... I don't know. He... Like, even Lord of the Rings was like a $90 million film. And it looked amazing, Oh, I would love for him to do Gundam, but I prefer if Peter Jackson went back and made like, a $5 to $20 million movie, and that he made like 3 or 4 of them, and they were all like original screenplays. That's what I would want from Peter Jackson. I kind of don't want him to do adaptations anymore. I kind of wish he'd just make original movies or direct somebody's good screenplay. What do you think of Mowgli, the Jungle Book movie? It looks just like Jon Favreau's film, quite frankly. It's weird that it's even coming out. If only Bad Robot Studios passed on the shitty Cloverfield Paradox script and repurposed A Quiet Place instead, then we'd have a solid spooky Cloverfield film trilogy. That's what I said in my review. I said A Quiet Place should have been Cloverfield 3. Abrams should have gotten in there. Speaking of horror films, just saw Prince of Darkness. Carpenter needs to go back to that awesomeness. I agree. He tried to go back to that with The Ward and it sucked. Yeah, Peter Jackson with A24 or something like that. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Peter Jackson could make some. I think he's still got like some good movies in him. He's a good director. He can do great. Even the Hobbit trilogy has really good stuff in it. It's just they're kind of a mess. Do we really need Tim Burton's Dumbo? No, but Disney wants to make that, $800 million worldwide. I don't even think Dumbo's that good of a movie, the first one, to be quite frank. Like, it's weird. Yeah, Jackson just doesn't give a shit. He's not quite George Lucas, because he does have more films under his belt. That's what everyone always says, though. This is a more loyal adaptation of an original book. I've heard that about every movie ever that's based off a book. Peter Jackson said he'd do another horror movie when somebody made a bloodier movie than Brain Dead. Well, that's stupid. Why does somebody have to do that for him to make another horror movie? He could at least make another, like, Heavenly Creatures. The only movies this year left I'm excited for are Mandy and Alita. Yeah, Battle Angel is coming out, isn't it? I'm not going to go see Skyscraper and Hotel Transylvania. I mean, I love the first Hotel Transylvania. I think it's a Halloween classic. Love it. Genndy Tartakovsky, but Skyscraper's probably fun, though. I forgot Jackson did Brain Dead. It's called, yeah, one of his best films is Forgotten Silver, though, a fake documentary he made back in, like, the 90s. It's really good. I don't know. I would just make Peter Jackson make some documentaries, make some art films. That's just what I'd like to see from the guy. I think I'd love to see that. I think he made The Ward a few years ago, John Carpenter. I can't remember what year that came out, but wasn't that great. It does look funny. I honestly think Skyscraper might be a really fun movie. It looks like God knows what it is. I will be reviewing Rampage soon, though, so if you guys want some rock action. Brainstorm, yeah. Yeah, it sucks that Upgrade didn't do that well. I think it might still be playing around here. It was playing here a few weeks ago, but I didn't live here yet. Yeah, yes, Peter Jackson, I don't think he's done. I don't think we've heard the end of his story. I still think he's got some left in him. For me, I think Peter Jackson has another good movie in him. But I could be wrong. Maybe this is the end. Maybe this is all he could do. I mean, I've been wrong before, so I'm not going to act like I know anything more than anyone. Yeah, I love Prince of Darkness. I've always wanted to do an underrated classics on that movie. That movie's terrific. My only issue with it is that Kurt Russell's not the lead. It's that other guy. And it should be Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell should be the lead in Prince of Darkness. That's the one flaw. Everything else about that movie kicks ass. It's one of the scariest films from my childhood. The shit with the mirrors... And I think it has one of the scariest last scenes ever. The guy reaching for the mirror. That's one of the scariest endings of all ever, quite frankly. I would have loved if James Cameron would have done a lead instead of doing the Avatar sequels, but I just kind of prefer if James Cameron just did one original film after another. I don't like the idea of him doing 5 Avatar movies. Yeah, Upgrade would have made better Cloverfield 3, and it probably would have made more money if they would have called it, Cloverfield Upgrade instead of Cloverfield yeah, there's a lot of movies that Cloverfield the franchise could have got. Paradox kind of just completely killed the Cloverfield franchise. Like, what was making Cloverfield exciting was we got the first film, and then years later they bought this film that was already made, that was great, that Damien Chazelle was working on, and then they bring in Tan Trachtenberg and they make it, and you're like, man, this is a great movie, and then they slap on some Cloverfield stuff at the end. But it was amazing. You're like, yeah, wow, 2 good films. And you're like, well, these are all going to be separate films. This is like its own little Black Mirror type thing. And that was the hope with like Upgrade and or Quiet Place. Those would have been, honestly, Upgrade would have been a better Black Mirror episode, and it would have been an awesome Black Mirror episode, like one of the best. And A Quiet Place would have been a really good Cloverfield movie. But unfortunately, both Black Mirror and the Cloverfield series, I think, have taken huge dips in quality recently. At one point, because 10 Cloverfield Lane's great, and the first couple seasons of Black Mirror are great. Yeah, the ending with the dream sequence, well, the future flash forward and all that, it's horrifying. Really like Prince of Darkness, though. Yeah, he's making Avatar 2 right now. He's filming it. I mean, he's on the set filming the movie. So it's pretty crazy. All right, I guess it's time to wrap this up. Got some super chats. Unless you guys have some more super chats or you have some more questions that are big to ask, you know, I don't think there's much left to talk about here. I think we've covered a lot. I think it's been a pretty decent episode. Once again, I'm sorry this isn't the normal length. My wallet got stolen. I'm in a new apartment. I'm tired from walking around the zoo in the heat for 3 hours. I'm not sick of Black Mirror, but it does feel like it probably should have already ended and just kind of been its own thing. You know, like it should have just been like, or Charlie Brooker should be bringing in other writers to do more interesting things with him, quite frankly. That I think would work better. You should really watch Black Mirror, Craig. The first 2 seasons are great. The British version, before Netflix bought it, there's like some really great episodes, like classics, and I mean there's legitimately there's a few episodes that are great. There's one with John Hamm called White Christmas that is one of the best science fiction. Like if it had been a movie, it'd be one of the best science fiction movies of the last like 10 years. It's great. How do I get a GF? Work out, get tattoos, get nice hair, be outgoing and manipulative, and listen to music that girls like that's shitty, and act passionate about things. That act like you love life and talk about philosophy and bullshit to make yourself sound interesting because girls eat up that shit and they don't know any better. And talk about equality and love and the universe and that you're all connected with them. And yeah, get your biceps a little bit bigger, get like a tattoo on your arm, get nice hair, dress decent. And yeah, just talk passionately and only be kind of sexual but not too sexual. And kind of manipulate the girl without without being overt about it, but she'll fall in love with you. And make sure you get as many women as interested in you as possible because the pheromones pick up and then other chicks will be in you too. So tattoo muscles, nice hair, dressing decent, being manipulative, acting passionate about things in life, even things you're not passionate for, talking philosophically for no reason, and listening to a bunch of crappy music and acting like you're really enjoying it and putting yourself out there socially, being around people. There you go. That's how you get women. You will 100% get laid with that. No question. Yeah, no, the first few seasons of Black... Well, there was less episodes then, too. You know, they used to only do, like, 6 episodes a season. Maybe even 3, I think, one season. It's just the episodes are too long now. Black Mirror should be a half-hour show, and there should only be, like, 3 episodes a season. I think if he was only doing 3 episodes in a half hour, it'd be great. Yeah, I get if you don't want a tattoo, but chicks dig them, and don't think they don't just because some people don't like them. Chicks like tattoos. They also like nice facial hair. If you can grow a goatee, do that, or a stubble, do that for sure. You don't have to get a tattoo, but don't believe anyone were to say chicks like that stuff. Especially young chicks, if you want like a super hot, like 25-year-old. Yeah, we're all made of stars or some shit, yeah. Yeah, like I said last week, that line I said about stardust, that we all come from the same stardust, and we shine together, say that to a girl, she'll go crazy. And if, yeah, if you can, pay for some things for her, but not too much, so she doesn't feel like you're trying to make her needy of you, all that, because they don't like that. They don't like when they feel like you're trying to make them dependent on you, but you're actually making her dependent on you emotionally, but she doesn't realize that's what's happening. Which is a nice way to get women to fall for you really hard. Make them emotionally need you when they don't realize it, even if they don't financially need you, and then you don't have to spend as much money. It's basically playing the line. It's staying right on the line. You don't go one way or the other. You play the line, and you find that balance. Women like passion and uncertainty, and falling in love is kind of like them not knowing what they're doing, because women never know what they want. They never know what they're doing with anything. They're very confused creatures and complicated emotionally. So you can play with that emotion and complication and keeping them on the line of being uncertain. And if you can keep them excited and on that line, it'll kind of work. So many things about women I never put two and two together on. I'll eat Corey Wayne's book. It's great stuff. Yeah, or be a felon, a criminal. Chicks seem to really go for that and want to have your baby. Be a drug addict and a felon. That seems to work for a lot of guys too, apparently. You can get like really hot girls with that. I've seen it a lot, people. I've seen it a lot. So, maybe it's the bad boy thing. But it's mainly, tapping into women's fucked up emotions, that they all kind of hate themselves and they all kind of don't know what they want. They don't know what to think. They need you to think for them. And you can kind of play with that. And I'm getting a little too deep with this advice, but like it just sounds like I'm objectifying them. But that really is what it is. That's where a lot of guys mess up. They don't understand the psychology of women, so they don't know how to talk to them and get them to like you, or to make things work that way. All I got from the list is hair. There you go, Noel. It's 70% hair, 30% attitude. So women like a body of art drawn over more art. Might as well paint over Picasso with another painting. There you go. I mean, probably having a big dick doesn't hurt either, but you can't always pull that out, and dick pics aren't the best thing to do, so... Please treat him mean, keep him keen. Rewind. Pat's girlfriend in the other room rethinking life. Yeah, maybe cut this out of the video, bro. Hey, Blood Money, he asked for advice and I'm just giving honest advice. A lot of guys give really bad advice. I was just like, I'm gonna give real advice. People always lie when they talk to people how to get women and all that and what you do. I'm just cutting through it and saying this is what you actually have to do to get women. And this is what most guys do who get women. And they give you a lot of advice that's not going to work, but if you can get good at this stuff I'm talking about, it's a lot easier. From the sound of what you're saying, American chicks are retards, not surprised. I don't know if it's exclusive to America, but that's the only experience I have for the most part. But I mean, in my worldview of what I've seen men and women, it's mainly just knowing how to manipulate women to get women, which that's what getting anyone to like you is a form of manipulation. And I'd say that's part of it is learning how to kind of mess with someone's head but not hurting them. And you don't even have to be intelligent to do this. You can be stupid and do this. It's just human behavior, understanding human behavior and instincts. That's girlfriend repacking. I don't know. I think in general women want to be led more than they like to say they do. Yeah, see, Blood Money's this way naturally, but he's kind of just like this way as a person. But, you have to try to be that way to get chicks. It's probably your best bet if you're trying to get a girlfriend. I'm not telling you to be that way as a person all the time or to live life that way, but if you're having a hard time getting a girlfriend and you're wondering why, you're probably just not very good at some of the things I'm talking about in general. But yeah, it's mainly just acting passionate, being interesting. Chicks don't like boring. You might think chicks like boring guys, but even that guy you think's boring, he's not boring to her for whatever reason. So you have to figure out how to not be boring to the chick you're interested in, and if you can make her feel better about herself, even if you're not complimenting her. I mean, it's that way. It's like I said, it's about towing that line. It's about staying on the line and not going to one way or the other. Bathory, this is universal with young women around the world. Women are emotional beings in a logical world. What they say they want and what they respond to are usually different. That's why this phenomenon of women saying one thing and doing another exists. Yeah, you gotta remember that the women are more emotional than you're gonna be with your rational thinking. So you have to try to think emotionally and not rationally in how you're going to approach these things. That's because you haven't met Mediterranean chicks like me. We pretend to be nice, but we will control you. But yeah, the hair. Don't forget about the hair. That's really the thing, terrible. Don't forget about the hair. I mean, all this other shit I'm talking about, yeah, but if you have nice hair, you can just put, like, that stuff, like, in the third, fourth place on the list. Yeah, and having... No, chicks do say stuff, so like, you have really honest, kind eyes. Like, I have kind eyes? What the fuck does that mean? A dog has kind eyes. You don't fuck it, do you? Jesus Christ. Being a white guy who can do stupid rap shit, that seems to work too. Like if you can do if you can rap really crappy, they seem to be impressed with that. Having a kid before you date the chick you meet, having a baby mama, that gets women just wet. They love it when you have a kid. Even if you never see the kid or take care of it. That just, they go absolutely crazy. Maybe because they get to project motherhood onto this child that doesn't belong to them. You know, that's another possibility. So nice hair, manipulative, have a kid, have a felony, and have kind eyes, and honest eyes, and passion and all that. Say, Pat, how's that last football game? Yeah, that one team scored a touchdown. Yeah, that was crazy. I got a killer rap skill, so I might have a chance. You do, my friend. Rap to a girl and talk about the baby that you have with some other chick that you never see. And make sure you have nice hair. And look at her in the eyes a lot. And you're in. Yeah, you got it, my friend. And talk about Bernie Sanders being the best thing that ever happened to this country. Even now, I'm under Bathory's control, and I don't know it yet. Yeah, at least a couple of misdemeanors. I mean, you don't have to be full on, but you know, don't be a pussy. You know. I mean, one thing that helps is if you have drugs and alcohol, that's like a 90% guaranteed chance you'll get a chick around you somewhat. I actually know all this stuff works, but cannot bring myself to anything other than myself. That's fine, dude. Bathory, except literally everything I ate, except nice hair. See, even she's telling you it's the hair. There you go. You ever seen that Plinkett thing? The Attack of the Clones, where he's doing the Natalie Portman thing, where she's like, I want to be rich, but not too rich, so that he won't leave me. I want him to be handsome, but not too handsome. Like the thing with Anakin. That's like, Mike really captures it well in that video, I think. I think that whole thing that's exactly how to I would say that's a good place to go, is to start with the Plinkett review. You know, one of the best things he says in that review with that stuff is that bit is when he says, I want him to be spontaneous, but only when I know he's going to be spontaneous. When I want him to be spontaneous. That's very accurate. Like, I wanted to be girls are always like, I want a guy to be spontaneous and fun and do things like that, but it's only when it's under their rules or when they know it's gonna happen. Yeah, no baldies, laugh out loud. Yeah, that stuff. Yeah, just listen to that and you're fine. That'll lead you down a right path. Mike knows what he's talking about. That's true, Green. That's very true. Yeah, just make up like you have conviction for things that you don't have conviction for. And stupid things, too. Like, don't be passionate about movies and video games because they don't give a shit, even though they pretend they do. Having cocaine on you at a party is like throwing crumbs to pigeons. See, Bathory says things she hates, but she loves the hair and the coke. But The Rock is bald. Isn't he a babe magnet? Yeah, but the rest of him's made out of 100% pure sexy man meat. He's a flamin' yawn. He needs to be smart, or at least good with money. Yeah, no, everything Mike says in that Attack of the Clones review is amazing. He needs to be smart, or at least good with money. No, that Plinkett thing, that's right on. Pat, be a dude, bro. Sup, bro? Or just be really hot. I mean, that works too if you're hot. But I don't know what you look like. If you're like just a hot guy, that can work too. I mean, you could have a terrible personality, but... I don't have hair or coke. I have no chance. The yellow brick road will lead to somewhere, my friend. And maybe your castle will have cocaine in it someday. You know, this has gotten weird. This is getting to like, but now we're talking about nuclear war. I don't know how this happened. That's weird shit. He needs to be force sensitive, but not too force sensitive. I'm average looking. Hey, average can work perfectly fine. There you go. And about 116 different things, but you don't get the point. But you get the point. Alas, go for the less hot friend and act like she is the one. Hey, Blood Money, we should just start a dating advice that we should do a love line like Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla. You'll be Dr. Blood Money and I can be the Adam Carolla. I just cut the bullshit and then you try to come from this like, hey, this is the professional advice. We could do a show. We could call it Get Laid. A YouTube live stream every week. We get all the beta males to come give us super chats and we give them advice that they won't use and it won't work for them. When sexy Scandinavian women exist. Damn it, Bathory, you're hung up on this. We're projecting your insecurity. I don't need it. I wipe my ass with it when I go to bed at night. What if I got Asian or like Bathory said, Scandinavian woman? Scandinavian. Dr. Love Money. Yeah, I think that'd be a Dr. Love. That's your first problem, crazy. Never consider yourself average. You are an incredible person. Don't doubt yourself. You're everything except average. See, Noel's talking to a way a guy should do a chick. He's treating you like a chick right now. Noel gets it. I hate sand. It's coarse and gets everywhere. Get laid. I love it. I like being average. No, you don't. That's like saying I like having a 5-inch penis. You don't. You've accepted it because it's reality. You live with it. But you wish it was 8 inches or 9. You know, I'm happy with my average house. No, you wish it was nicer. You wish you could go on vacations to, like, the Bahamas. But, you know, you've accepted reality. So, like, Patrice O'Neal or Dick Masterson. I mean, I think we should just keep in our heads that Bathory looks like Bayonetta, because that just makes this all better. Get laid with Dr. Pat. Real talk for real men. Dr. Love Money and Pat are here to give you advice. For all you nerds out there that don't think you can go get women out there, we're going to tell you exactly how to do it with these 12 steps. Please buy our book that's only $49.99. I want love advice from Ben Shapiro. Stay a virgin until you're 35, folks. Alright, then get married. Get married to a doctor. He actually figured it out. He doesn't have any STDs. He just waited till he was like 30 to get laid and he married a doctor and she could pay for his shit. That's the best advice. Do that Jewish shit that he did. You just be devout and marry a chick that makes a lot of money. Have Blue Apron with her. Blue Apron catered our wedding, folks. Okay? I would want more than just an average amount of money. What happened to the box office stuff? Oh, yeah. That's right. Anyway, Ant-Man and the Wasp did pretty okay. And I lost my wallet. I didn't lose it, it was stolen. And this show went longer than I wanted it to. This was supposed to be an hour and a half, but it's already an average episode length. So, I can't help myself. even with all of the, you know what help you more, blood money though? Money. I don't care what your voice sounds like. I guarantee you Gilbert Gottfried has gotten us laid as much as any guy we know because he has money. I'll have to start a phone line to give advice to dumb women to protect them from you guys. Do you talk about the Mandy? It's time for a gangbang gang, okay? It's time for the gangbang gang. Alright, folks. Gangbang gang show. God, could you imagine? I mean, imagine him on a date. If he wasn't... That dude would fail with so many women if he didn't have certain qualities. Like, could you have been on a date like, okay, listen, I can't have sex with you tonight? He's like the reverse Chris Traeger. Like, he's just, like, he has the energy and all that, but he's not gonna go sleep with you. He doesn't look like Rob Lowe. He's like, I'm a virgin. I'm devoutly Jewish. Okay? I like Blue Apron. It's terrific. I mean, the number one advice I give you, yeah, is have money, be rich. You ever seen that picture of Jack Nicholson with the big stomach eating the sub sandwich with like 10 chicks in bikinis around him? And he's like, you know why those chicks are there? Because he's Jack fucking Nicholson. That's my best advice. Be famous and make money. If you could do that, you should give me advice. That's what I want. This has turned into, you know, there's Sardonic cast. We should call this Massagecast. Welcome to Massagecast. I do like Patrice O'Neal stuff, although I think Patrice O'Neal also gives really horrible black guy advice. I think it works for him, but I think it's actually horrible advice sometimes. But it's very funny, and he has great insights on humans. How he talks about, like, white people like to listen to Creep because white people like to feel bad. Yes, this is what you can do without money, like an infomercial. Alright, I'm gonna end this. This is ridiculous. If you listen to Box Office Addict, you're probably a box office addict yourself. And I'm not here to help you with your addictions. I'm here to encourage them. So yeah, have fun. And I'm sorry this last half hour was like retarded. And the show went longer than I wanted it to, and blah blah blah. But anyway, I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, if I can do it for Box Office Addict 52. And hopefully I can get my stuff figured out, and you guys are great. As always, the great sidekick Bathory, who is awesome, who's been putting up with all of this male testosterone in here. We got a great yeah, Pussy Addict. Welcome to Pussy Addict, folks. We got a great cameo from Blood Money. And thank you for the super chats, by the way. I could really use them right now because somebody stole my fucking wallet. So... you know, it's great. What are you kidding? It's always fun. Yeah, I just didn't mean for it to be 2 hours. I wanted to be 90 minutes and I'm tired, but somehow we ended up doing it. Because this is 10:30. Box Office Addicts never went to 10:30 that I could think of. This is the latest time Box Office Addicts ever been on. Hey, you go return your videotapes, faggot. Alright? Dude, that was harsh. Okay, bye guys. Bye.